my name is Trish. Welcome to the Gig House Kitchen. Today we're going to make something quite unusual but very delicious, muesli bread. So let's get down to it. So, as always, now is the time to light the oven. So if you have a gas oven, you need to put it on gas mark 7, and if you have an electric oven, you need to put it on 220 degrees centigrade. Now, muesli bread isn't really bread, it is actually more like a bun dough. And so we have some enriched ingredients here, which I'll go through as I put them in. The first ingredient, though, is obviously strong bread flour. So I have in this bowl 200 grams of strong bread flour and a nice pinch of salt. And then here I have 25 grams of butter, which I'm going to put in and cut up a little bit with my palette knife, and then I'm going to rub in. Now when you rub in, again using the tips of your fingers and just pulling it out of the bowl to keep it nice and cool, shaking the bowl to let the lumps come to the top, and it should only take a minute literally to mix it in because it's quite a small amount of margarine. Right, my next ingredient is 7 grams or 1 sachet of dried yeast, fast acting, and then I have here 25 grams of sugar, and then I have my flavourings. Now, I started making muesli bread years ago when I had nothing to put in as a flavouring, and I went through the store cupboard and saw some muesli, but I found it in the store cupboard and just thought, well, I'll add that and see what that comes out like, and everybody absolutely raved over it, so I just carried on making it. Now, one thing I have found about muesli, this one's pretty good, but some of them don't have a lot of currants or raisins or sultanas in, so I always like to add a few extra. So here I have 75 grams of muesli and 25 grams of raisins. So I'm going to put those in, and then you don't have to put this in, but I think it gives it a little bit of a kick. I have here half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Right, now I'm going to give that a bit of a mix, and then that's my dry ingredients ready. So now I'm on to my wet. Now, as it's an enriched dough, I have here some milk. I have 150 mils of milk. So now I'm just going to go and put this in the microwave, so I'll see you in a minute. So what I'm going to do now is pour this in. You don't want your milk too hot or it could actually kill the yeast. So I'm going to pour it in and then give it a good stir. Now I've got slightly more milk than I need in that jug at the minute because different flours can absorb different amounts of liquid. Right, so I'm not sure if I do need the extra. This feels rather good. Bun dough is always a little bit sticky. Bread's always good to be a little bit sticky anyway, but bun dough, because it's got sort of all the enriched ingredients in, is a little bit stickier again. That to me seems really good. So I'm going to put a little bit of flour down, not too much. I don't tend to put flour down for bread if I can help it, but bun dough, again, because it's a bit sticky, often needs it. And then I'm going to give it a good knead. Now I'm going to actually knead this for about 5 to 6 minutes, and that will strengthen the gluten and make it lovely and light. So I will see you in a minute. Our muesli bread has been rising for about 40 minutes and it has risen very well, as I can see through the cling film. I'm going to put a little bit of flour down, but not too much, and I'm going to just put my mixture out onto the table and then give it a little knead. It needs a second knead, as I said before, in order to rise well, because it's got a lot of rich ingredients in, and muesli and raisins, so it does need, you know, quite a lift. I'm not going to knead it for very long, just for a little while. What I'm doing really is distributing the carbon dioxide. So now I've knocked it back, I'm going to make a plait, but you could do just about anything you like with it actually. You could just form it into a round, or you could put it in a tin. So I'm going to make a fat sausage, and then I'm going to cut it into 3 equal pieces with my palette knife. Now, I don't need any more flour, I can tell, so I'm just going to go with it as it is, but I'm going to give it a bit of a roll and put them next to each other because it's much easier to see whether one's bigger than the other. I can see that one's bigger than that one. So I'm just going to realign it, and then that's ready to actually form the plait. I'm going to make a nice long sausage with all 3. as you can see, very quickly. I haven't got much flour down, and it's all gone now anyway, so that makes it much easier to roll into a sausage because it doesn't slip. So there we have it, my 3 sausages ready to plait. So there we go. Now I can't say I'm brilliant at plaiting. My 2 girls, when they used to go to school, used to have some very funny hairdos till they could do their own hair, that was. Plaiting isn't my forte, but I can do it, funnily enough, with bread rolls and with bun dough, but I can't really do it with hair. Strange that, but there you go. Maybe because this stays still and children don't. Okay, so now I've stuck them together, I'm going to literally plait. So it's into the middle, always the outside edge into the middle, keeping it nice and tight as you go. And then when you get to the end, you want to really, really tuck under, because the last thing you want is for it to sort of, when it rises, display out, and then it just sort of loses its shape and doesn't look as professional. So there we have it, a really nice little plait. Now I've got a greased tray here, and I'm going to put my plait on, and I'm going to put this back now and let it rise again. Shouldn't take as long this time because it's already been risen once, but probably take about 15 to 20 minutes and then it'll be ready for the oven. Before I do put it back to rise though, I'm going to just sprinkle a little bit of porridge oats on the top. These are just rolled oats, and I find that just gives it a nice sort of little finish. So there we have it. Muesli bread ready to rise and then put in the oven. So the muesli bread has just finished proving. It is now double in size, and if I press it gently, I can see that it pops back. So it's ready for the oven. So I'm going to now put it in my hot oven for about 10 to 15 minutes, so I'll see you in a little while. So there you have it. Muesli bread, fresh out of the oven, piping hot, and ready to tear and share and smother with lashings of butter. Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember to subscribe. See you next time in the Gig House Kitchen. Bye.